In 1980 Pennsylvania, a man investigating unexplained deaths at a local company vanished without a trace. Welcome back to Midnight Case Files. Tonight, we reopen a case from 1980 Pennsylvania. A case where a man asked too many questions about dead coworkers and vanished without a trace, leaving behind only questions about what he found and who wanted him silenced. For decades, his family has searched for answers. Tonight, we ask, what did he discover at that company? On the 17th of October, 1980, a man's car was discovered on a rural road outside a small Pennsylvania town. The engine was cold, his wallet, keys, and glasses remained inside. He had simply vanished, but the most important pieces of evidence were missing. His notebooks, his research, gone. Pennsylvania, 1980. A small industrial town outside of Pittsburgh, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone. The local company was the heartbeat of the community. It employed half the town. It paid the bills, and nobody asked too many questions about how things really worked. In the months leading up to October 1980, workers at this company began dying, not in dramatic accidents, not in ways that demanded immediate investigation. Just deaths, heart attacks, equipment malfunctions, sudden collapses, a pattern that some employees noticed, but nobody wanted to discuss. He wasn't a cop. He wasn't a journalist. He was just a man who believed his coworkers deserved answers, and who believed something was deeply wrong at the place he called his workplace. He worked there. He knew these people. And when the deaths kept happening, he started asking questions. According to people who knew him, he began quietly collecting information. He requested access to internal records. He interviewed workers who had noticed the same strange pattern. He cross-referenced safety inspection reports with death certificates. His private case file grew thicker by the week. One coworker recalled him saying, quote, "These deaths don't add up. There is something wrong here, and I think people are covering it up." He wasn't accusing anyone directly, but he believed the pattern was real, and he believed someone didn't want it examined too closely. By mid-October 1980, he had stopped showing up to work. His family reported him missing. When police found his car on a rural road that day, something was deeply wrong. His personal belongings were inside: wallet, keys, glasses. But his notebooks, his research, were nowhere to be found. Some believe he had his notebooks with him when he disappeared. Others believe they were taken by whoever silenced him. Either way, his entire investigation vanished along with him. The deaths he was documenting, the connections he had made, all of it, gone. Police at the time treated this as a possible runaway or personal matter. They didn't search the company records. They didn't interview executives in depth. They didn't treat his investigation as potentially relevant to his disappearance. The company that might have held answers was never seriously examined. Here is what makes this case so infuriating. Even 44 years later, the deaths he was investigating were never properly explained. Former workers described safety violations being ignored, insurance claims being filed quickly, questions being discouraged. He saw the pattern, and then he was gone. At least 3 workers died within 18 months under circumstances witnesses described as suspicious. One died when equipment failed in a way that employees said should have been impossible. Safety protocols should have prevented it. Inspection should have caught it. But somehow, the machine failed, and a worker died. Another worker collapsed suddenly after working a shift alone. There were no witnesses. No one saw what happened. He simply fell, and by the time anyone found him, it was too late. The official report called it natural causes, but those who knew him said he was in good health. A third worker was found in an area of the facility that was supposed to be locked and secured. Access to that section required authorization, yet somehow, he ended up there alone, late at night, and when workers found him, he was already dead. How did he get in? Why was he there? Think about this. 3 workers, 3 impossible circumstances, all within 18 months. And when their colleagues started asking why these deaths kept happening, when he started building a case file, he vanished. Is that a coincidence? The family doesn't think so. His family never accepted that he simply walked away. They knew the man who disappeared. He was not the type to abandon his life, his job, his family. Without a word, he had recently discussed future plans with his wife. He had talked about taking a family trip that November. He was engaged with his children's lives. The family's decades-long search for answers has led them to a disturbing conclusion. He found something dangerous, and someone made sure he couldn't tell anyone. They have spent 44 years pushing for answers, requesting case files, speaking to anyone who might remember what happened in October 1980. The official case file from 1980 is sparse. Basic missing person report, car location documented. No search of the company, no interviews with executives. No investigation into the deaths he had been researching. The case was essentially closed within weeks. Not because the mystery was solved, but because no one wanted to solve it. The company he worked for no longer exists under that name. Decades of corporate restructuring, mergers, and relocations have erased the original business. Former executives have declined to comment or are no longer available for questioning. The institution that might hold answers has simply evaporated. 4 decades later, this case remains officially unsolved. No body has ever been found. No charges have ever been filed. We don't know exactly what he discovered in those company records. We don't know who pressured him to stop. We don't know if his disappearance was violence, coercion, or something else entirely. He asked questions that made powerful people uncomfortable. He documented a pattern of deaths that didn't add up. He built a case file that grew thicker every week. And then he was gone, along with everything he had found. Someone didn't want those questions answered. Someone made sure of that. Is he still out there somewhere older now, living under a different name, unable to come home? Did something happen to him that night on that rural road? Or did someone make sure his investigation ended permanently? These questions have no answers, and they may never have them, unless someone comes forward. If you or someone you know has information about this case, and nothing at all, please contact local Pennsylvania State Police or the County Sheriff's Office where this occurred. Even small details could matter. Even half-remembered conversations could change everything. Someone knows what happened, and we need them to speak up. Some cases stay open because the evidence ran out. Others stay open because nobody wanted to look hard enough in the first place. This case from 1980 Pennsylvania feels like both a man who cared too much and investigators who cared too little. That is a dangerous combination. Across American true crime history, there is a pattern. People who investigate wrongdoing, who ask questions that powerful interests don't want answered, sometimes vanish. Their investigations are buried, their evidence disappears, and their cases go cold while the powerful walk free. After 44 years, the family believes they already know what happened. He found something dangerous. Someone made sure he couldn't tell anyone. The investigation was buried, not because there was nothing to find, but because finding it would have been inconvenient for powerful people. Somewhere, someone knows what happened to him. Somewhere, those answers exist. Maybe they're in a box in a basement. Maybe they're in a memory someone has pushed aside. Maybe they're in a conversation someone isn't sure they should have. But those answers exist. They haven't disappeared. They're just waiting. Tonight, we ask the questions that have haunted this case for more than 4 decades. What did he find in those files? Who wanted him to stop asking? And is he still out there somewhere? Or did someone make sure his investigation ended permanently? These are questions that deserve answers. Some cases stay hidden because people don't know they exist. If this story disturbed you, if it made you think about justice, about truth, about the people who search for answers in the dark, share it with others who care about justice for the forgotten. Someone out there might have information. Someone might remember. Thank you for joining us tonight on Midnight Case Files. Subscribe so you never miss when we reopen another dark file. Every case we cover represents real people, real families, and real unanswered questions. Together, we keep their stories alive. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. See you in the next one.